everyone, welcome back to my vlog, and today's kind of like a special vlog because it's not really about books, but it kind of sort of is. So I love using weeded books for all sorts of different kinds of crafts, and I was looking through some videos about how to redo these Dollar Tree pumpkins, and on none of them I could find any that used weeded books. So I thought, I'm going to try that and see what happens. So I did, and this is the first pumpkin that I made, and I'm actually going to show you how you can do this on the video. And then I decided to do something a little different, and I went with the I Believe in 398.2 pumpkin, which is your fairy tale pumpkin. And the last one that I did not include as a tutorial was this one, which I was inspired by some metal ones that I had seen. And so I'm actually just going to describe to you how I made this. So I hope you enjoy the video, and let's get started.
So apologies for the camera angle. This is my first time doing this, so just please bear with me as we go through this tutorial. So what I'm doing is I'm priming the pumpkin because the bright orange coating is just not really cool, and everybody likes the rustic ones. I'm using a craft paint in an antique white. You can buy this at any craft store, at Walmart, at the Dollar Tree. In fact, it's just sitting right there to the left of the screen. And you want to do this so that if you decide to paint something, it'll be easier to paint. And then I found a shish kebab in a drawer because I was getting paint all over my hands, and I thought, I need a handle. Everything is better with a handle. So I just stuck that through, and I was able to paint the pumpkin easier. Now, I still got paint on me, so if you don't want any paint on you, you might want to go ahead and put on some rubber gloves or some neoprene gloves, latex-free gloves, whatever gloves you have on hand, but I wasn't afraid of a little paint. Now, to dry it, I happen to have these cork board hot pot holders, and I thought that's so perfect. So I just took the stick, I stuck it through there, and I allowed it to dry. It usually takes about 10 minutes to dry, so I did 2 of them. Then I got my weeded pages out of the book. There's not a whole bunch of them. I think there was about 8 pages. I folded them in half, and I cut them in half so that they were easier to work with. And so there they are. Then I got out my Mod Podge, and this is a matte clear. I poured it into a little container because I thought it would be easier to use, and it actually is. Instead of using a teeny tiny toothbrush type of brush, or teeny tiny brush, I used a foam brush that was a little bit larger. You take the Mod Podge and you put it all over the back of the paper, and then you adhere it to the pumpkin. And then this first time around, I adhered it to the pumpkin, and I started pressing down on it. There were lots of wrinkles, and it was kind of hard to get into place. My pages were a little long, so I cut it. But you'll see I am really fighting with the wrinkles at the bottom because it's a round form with flat paper. So then I remembered something that is a sewing basic. So when you are sewing and you want to make something fit on a round corner, you just cut notches into them, and then you're able to sew them easier. And so same concept here. I just press down on the large end, and then I overlap the areas that I cut. So there I am pressing it down and then overlapping it on each side. And I had less wrinkles. So that is what I did for the remainder of this pumpkin, is just made sure that I cut notches into it and then overlapped all the notches to make it more seamless. And you're going to want this because of the ridges of the pumpkin. So here I am out of this area of sight. Sorry about that. Oh, there I am in the sight. So as you can see, it's easy to do. Just cut those notches in. So I did the whole thing, and afterwards I pressed down on each of the ridges because that's what makes the pumpkin a pumpkin instead of just an oblong round shape, is that it has these beautiful pumpkin ridges in it, which is very essential when you do the first pumpkin that I'm going to show you here in a second. You have to let it sit and dry, but it's okay to put it on the cardboard that it's drying on. It's not going to stick too much to that. So I got some jute string. You can get it at the dollar store. It's very inexpensive. And so you just put a little hot glue at the bottom, and I'm tracing it, all the ridges, with the jute so that you can see the pumpkin become more defined. Now the bottom is not going to look that pretty, but what you can do is that you can take different lengths or different pieces of jute and hot glue them all at different areas on the bottom so that it's not wobbly. And that's what I did. But that's how you make a jute string and weeded book pumpkin. So I wanted to try something different, and I decided I wanted to use what I affectionately call the demon's dandruff, which is glitter because it gets everywhere. I just dripped Elmer's glue all over the pumpkin, and then I took that glitter and I glittered it. I just dropped it all over the top, and it stuck to the glue and all the droplets and created this really nice sheen to the pumpkin. You can buy any type of glitter that you want to. Another technique is to put another layer of white on this if you choose to, an antique white. And then I bought these rhinestones for $1, and you can take these rhinestones and instead of using the jute, you can take the rhinestones and put them in the ridges like that. So you make it more sparkly. There's 100 different ways you can do that. Now this didn't involve any books, but I thought it would be cute. You could do it over the book. Yeah, you could. You can also paint it. So there's gray, and I love the silver, but you can also contrast it with a color like gold. So that's just a different idea for a pumpkin. Now to finish off this, I needed some leaves, and these are leaves that you can put on any of your pumpkins. I used burlap, and I bought it at Walmart, and it came in a 3-pack, so it was the fall colors. I decided I wanted to keep everything super neutral, and you just fold it in half, you cut it, and then you cut out 2 leaves at one time, and they're just long, oblong shaped leaves, and I kind of like that because I am not one to be able to cut a straight line. So it's very forgiving, and it doesn't have to be perfect. And then my leaves were cut. Voila! Now you cannot use Mod Podge or Elmer's glue to stick down these leaves. You're going to need something a little bit more heavy duty, so I brought out the big guns. I brought out my handy dandy hot glue gun. So make sure yours is plugged up. Whoa, there it is. It is so big and awesome. Not really. And then I also have a chopstick that I use to press down where the hot glue is with the object that I'm gluing so I don't burn my fingers. I got all different sorts of pipe cleaners, and I took out 4 because those seem to be the perfect width for a stem. You don't have to use the same colors. You can mix it up and use different colors and twist them together. So what you do is you just twist them to make it into one thicker piece. And then once you're done with that, you give it a little twist again so that now it looks like a stem of a pumpkin. And then I kind of made a little flat place for it. If you don't want to poke a hole in it, you don't have to. And I put some glue on that and stuck it to the top of the pumpkin. Then I took my 2 leaves, put a little dab of hot glue on there. And then there is my handy dandy chopstick. And then I glued it to the pumpkin. And I thought this made a really beautiful pumpkin. It would be so cool if someone could do a cricket that said, I believe in 398 too, and put it on there. But that's my fairy tale pumpkin using weeded books. So you've got 2 ideas using weeded books.
Now this pumpkin is kind of the same thing. You're going to decoupage things, but instead you're going to use, I used brown wrapping paper, gift wrap paper, instead of the book paper. And then I cut the book strips into different lengths, or not lengths, into different widths so that you get this kind of a more 3D effect. And then just taped it to the top, not taped it, hot glued it to the top and hot glued it to the bottom. The bottom really doesn't have to look that pretty. Added a green stem, and then I got this really cool designed pumpkin. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and this video. If you want to, you can subscribe to this channel so every time I post one you will be notified. And thank you so much for watching. We'll talk to you soon, and happy fall! Bye!